It's always been really important for us. Years ago, when our second record didn't come out. Well, you know, no, even before that, actually, when the first record came out, we came over here in 1996 or 97, and immediately we had a huge audience. France, in particular, it started in France. The French audience really got into it. And we've kind of survived on the good graces of the French audience for a year or two, and then slowly over the years we started to develop. You know, England is difficult. Wait a minute, they're going to open the door.
Sparkling, but
that's okay. Thank you. My secretary is fantastic. We tried to develop. You know, England, which is a very difficult country if you're not 19 years old in English. It's very hard to get to be taken seriously there. And Germany, we always thought Germany was like, you know, Rammstein, you know, and it's all like they only like heavy music, and so we were pleasantly surprised when we first came, and we went, for example, to Munich to there was a club in Munich called the
Atomic Coffee.
Exactly. And we went there, and everyone's listening to guitar music, and they're listening to, you know, Oasis and whatever, and we're like, Germans like this music? I can't even find a club in New York that plays this music. This is great. So it was a revelation for us, and so we began to try to develop an audience here, and we were lucky that we had some friends in high places. We had Sportfreunde Stiller were fans of the band, and I know a lot of people don't take them maybe as seriously as they would like, but regardless, you know that they do really well, and their audience is really huge, and they were big fans of our music, and they took us on the road, I think twice, and which was a tremendous help to us, you know, to find an audience. And then Wir sind Helden took us out for some shows, and they were big fans too, and I thought they were really wonderful as well. So that was huge for people finding out about us in this country. So it's been great. No, that was no. That was never a working title. Well, I think Matthew said that at one point to one person, and it sort of got propagated, like as it was never actually a working title. I think he had that. I think maybe he was thinking that for like 5 minutes one day. That was never discussed between. It was, if anyone, Matthew had that in his own head. We didn't really have any working titles. We didn't really think about it too much, and we were hoping that one would kind of appear. Sometimes, like the last record, we found the title in the lyrics, and you never know, they just happen. So we had gone through the entire process, and we didn't really have anything yet. We were all sort of thinking, you know, it's hard to put a title on something, especially when you don't really know what it is. And you don't even know, I mean, before you make a record, you don't know what it is. You know, you don't know what it's going to be when you're done. You have a bunch of disparate. So you don't really know. Like when we make a record, we don't know what it's going to come out like, and we don't know how it's going to feel, or you know. And so usually it gets done in the last, you know, after the record's all finished, and you listen to it and you sort of see it as a final thing. And that hasn't even really happened yet. You know, we've just finished figuring out like the proper order of the songs, and we're just finishing the album artwork this week. And so now we're just getting a sort of a sense of what the record is really, what it is when you listen through it. But Matthew was thinking that Lucky was, I think the word just kind of came to him and stuck in his head. And he had to sell the idea to Daniel and myself. Like at first, I didn't really think it was a very good idea. And Daniel really didn't think it was a good idea at all. As a matter of fact, we argued about it for a few days, and we had a lot of email conversations. And that email conversation that we had is going inside the record. It's the entire huge paragraph of our conversation back and forth. It's extremely personal. I can't believe it's going in the record. It's like, I don't really think it's a very good idea, blah, blah, blah. And then someone else goes, well, I think, you know, really in the long run, even if the title is bad, the record will stand on its own. You know, that's not really the important thing. And on and back and forth. It's really bizarre. It's an interesting thing to read. I read it last night, actually. We were looking at the final artwork, and I read through this argument. Like, wow, it's really intensely personal. It's actually kind of funny. That's a good question. I have a sort of a soft spot for the song called Beautiful Beat, which I think is somewhere early on the record. Something about the simplicity of that song. I think maybe because the song is about the drums. Maybe that's why I like it. It's a sort of a love song to a rhythm. So maybe I like that about it. To me, that sounds like a huge, just great pop song. I really like that one. Guardian Lightning, that is a good question. That was written, I know that it was written for the previous record. We did the original recording of that. I think that recording was done for The Weight Is a Gift in a studio in Seattle, and it didn't get finished. It was, it didn't have, there's a big long part at the end, sort of like an outro part. It goes to a different chord, and there's this sort of big instrumental, sort of Hey Jude kind of ending on the end of it. We didn't have that. We just had the other part of the song, and it seemed unfinished. And we went back to it, and Matthew wrote this other part, and we stuck it on the end. Did we re-record the entire song, or did we just stick the ending on there? I can't remember. We must have re-recorded it. Oh, God, I can't remember how we did it anymore. And it came out really nicely. What was it about? Well, you know, it was just about a song about falling in love. You know, are you lightning? You know, because I'm waiting. You know, that's a classic Matthew, you know, metaphor for like this discovery of love. It's like that bolt out of the blue. Yeah, that's right. The single, it's one of the two or maybe three songs on the record that has sort of political undertones. It's we were all really involved in the Democratic trying to get a Democrat elected last election, and we didn't. I guess we didn't work hard enough because they elected that. What was that guy's name? Oh, George Bush. I can't even say his name. It makes me fucking nauseous. And so you know, we're pretty political, and we're you know, I think also Matthew is more political, even more political now because he has a son and he worries about the state of the world maybe even more than he did in the future of the world. And so whose authority is, you know, it has, you know, it has these political overtones, like you know, whose authority? You have none over me. It can be a personal statement, but it's also a covert political statement as well. And the video was just the director had the idea to shoot a New York City bicycle messenger, you know, and that's also a perfect metaphor for that too, because bicycle messengers are the most like outlawed pirates. They're like the modern pirates. They have their own style. They have their own language. You know, they're free riding the streets. You know, and it's a really nice video. It looks really beautiful. And the last shot, we spent all the money of the video on the last shot, where we rented a helicopter and we flew over the Williamsburg Bridge, just trying to get the shot of the guy on the bicycle. So we had to like, where is he? Do you see him? No, I don't see him. Oh, let's go around again. There he is. Can we get him to the spot? You know, and they're on the radio trying to get him to the right spot. And he's in a little. What is he wearing? He's in red. And then some other bicycle guy in a red thing, and it was just ridiculous. And I was getting green because we were going in circles 20 times in a circle in a helicopter. But riding in a helicopter over New York City, wow, that's awesome. It's like flying. It's like you feel like you're Superman because you're like 300 feet above the ground. It's like really amazing to see the city like that. That was great. I loved it. I was really excited. I was glad I made those videos. I wanted to make more, actually. My camera died after that last one. I'm like, oh, I ran out of battery. I should have charged it last night. Moron. It was great.